News back for episode 2 of season 2. Woo! Just got to see the Batman. So we're going to talk about that for today. Um, look, I think all in all, it's a pretty good movie. Um, I was skeptical at best that they casted Robert Pattinson. But I got to tell you, he did okay. So we're going to talk about the movie. We are not going to give anything away, so don't worry about that. Going to do some ratings of the movie from the actors to the writing to the production, um, entertainment factor, and etc. etc. 10 categories, rating it, best out of 10. Um, and then you add it all up, and it gives you the total score. And let's get things rolling. Let's get it rolling. So, first off, we will touch on the actor believability. Robert Pattinson certainly um, was the talk of, the movie right from the beginning. There was so much skepticism on whether or not he was a good fit after being in Twilight. Um, People couldn't see it. I didn't see it, but when I did go to see the movie, I saw it, and I was rather surprised. He did an excellent job, so good that I gave the actor believability an 8.9. It was certainly a different take on the Bruce Wayne aspect. Like, to be honest, Bruce Wayne was darker than actually Batman. So you could see that he was basically tormented, over the death of his family, um, and he played that kind of a role as Bruce Wayne. Um, so Bruce Wayne was much darker than what we're used to seeing, but I thought it was a good take. Um, and I thought Robert Pattinson did an excellent job, and I gave him an 8.9, mostly because he had to change people's minds about him playing a role. And that goes a long way in my book because not only do you have to be good to play the role, but you have to be good to change people's minds. So he did an excellent job as Batman slash Bruce Wayne. The supporting cast consisted of Zoe Kravitz, who played Catwoman slash Selena. Uh, Jeffrey Wright was Lieutenant Gordon. This is before he becomes commissioner. Paul Dano played the Riddler. Colin Farrell played Penguin or Oz. John Turturro played Carmine Falcone. Um, And if you're not familiar with John Turturro, he was the butler on Mr. Deeds, an Adam Sandler movie. And Andy Serkis played Alfred, which put him in kind of a different light as well. He had to give a new opinion on his acting. I mean, when you're playing, hobbits, it kind of puts your mental capacity, along a hobbit line. And it's like, how is he going to play Alfred? Well, he did a great job. He did a great job. All these actors, like, look, the acting was spectacular in this movie. And I gave the supporting cast, all those names that I mentioned, a 9.0. First of all, you're used to seeing John Turturro, playing comedic parts for the most part. He has had some serious roles, of course, but, he's got to be known for Mr. Deeds mostly. And he had to come off as a mob boss, and he did an excellent job. Colin Farrell, you couldn't even tell it was Colin Farrell. You could not tell. Seriously. Like, if you would look at Colin Farrell and then look at the Penguin, wouldn't even realize it's him. Paul Dano played the Riddler, of course, and, you know, did a good job being creepy. So, kind of like a nerdy, creepy kind of thing going on. And again, he did a great job. There are other things, about these characters that I will touch on a little later. But as far as their acting was spot on. The whole cast was amazing. Jeffrey Wright was great. Gordon, um, yeah, he was fantastic, definitely. So Zoe Kravitz played Catwoman. Um, I'll have more on that later on. She was good as Catwoman. Don't get me wrong. All the actors did fantastic, but I have some things to pick apart. You know, so there will be some disappointing factors in the movie. Um, but all in all, we're on good track record here. So production, look, the production was fantastic. You know, lots of action. Um, it was almost 3 hours long, and it felt like a long movie at times. Um, but it did have to tell the story, and I gotta tell you, as far as the beginning stories of Batman movies, getting things going, I think this one did a really good job, and it took a different kind of look as it was more towards the younger side, I guess, of Batman kind of thing. Because you can tell that he was still disturbed by the deaths of his family. So the production gave it a 9.5. I thought that was pretty good. The music and sound, 10, spot on. You know, nothing to complain about that. Um, the background of of the movie, like the set and where it takes place, and and also the background of the characters. I thought they did a good job building up the characters as well as the setting of where it actually took place. So I gave it a 9.0. Um, where I had a problem was not the storyline. The storyline, it's Batman. Okay, so you have criminals, you have Batman. The storyline is fine. So I gave it a 9.0. It's the screenwriting where I had some issues. First of all, you have Riddler, Penguin, and Catwoman in the movie. And yet there's no big battle scene with any of them. Yes, I said that. You kind of had um, henchmen at the end, and that's fine. I liked it, and but you want to see, you know, Batman actually bring him down at the end. Um, but it was a little different. I don't like what they did with Catwoman. It didn't seem like she was a criminal. Like, I know she's supposed to be one of the big time rivals. I didn't really care for that part of it. Did not care for that. Um, I don't know. It was more like a Batgirl kind of thing than Catwoman, and no, I didn't like that part of it. So the screenwriting, which I put all on Matt Reeves and Peter Craig as the writers. Uh, I only gave it a 7.5 for that, and that's where it took a big hit. Now, 7.5 is still average. It's still average. Let's see. But it could have been better. I would have wanted to see more with, you know, the villains. Actually, one of the villains fighting in some way. You know? And Penguin was nothing more than a drug dealer. That's what he was, a drug dealer. Um, so that was a little disappointing, but all in all, the movie was really, really entertainment factor gave it a 9. You know, like I said, there were some parts where it was a little slow and it felt long, but there was a great deal to take in, and there was plenty of action throughout. The ending, I gave it an 8. I thought it could have ended a little better, but 8 is still, pretty good. And watchability, 8.5. I feel as though many people will watch this a second time, especially when we get part 2, and you know there's going to be a part 2. Uh, and I believe the second one will probably be absolutely amazing because you're going to get a lot of those matchups in the second movie that you did not get in that first movie because of building up the story. And so at this point, the Riddler is the top dog, on the criminal block, and I you are led to believe that big things are coming up in the next one, as there was a guest appearance by a random criminal in jail talking to, you know, your Riddler, and we're gonna have a good second movie. Like the second one should be ridiculous. Let's see if it lives up to the Dark Knight kind of goodness, because Dark Knight was probably my favorite of all the superhero movies, even all those Avenger movies, because the performance of Heath Ledger um, as the Joker. So it's going to be tough to top Heath Ledger's performance as a villain. That is still my favorite villain in any movie ever, and I've seen a lot of them. So, so the ending I gave an 8, of course, and watchability an 8.5. But again, so Matt Reeves was the director of the movie. He also co-wrote it, and I'm a little more critical on the actual writing than I am of the movie because the movie was fantastic. So when you round it all out, when you round it all out, I gave the movie an 85.4. Yes, 85.4, mostly because of that 8.9 actor believability. I did not give him the 9. I, I took off zero point 0.1 points, because, you know, it still is kind of weird to see a darker Bruce Wayne than a Batman. So, um, but, again, Robert Pattinson surprised the heck out of me, and he should be commended for that. Um, yeah, so you are watching HavenShine reviews on Rhode Island Broadcasting. You can find it on YouTube at Rhode Island Broadcasting. You can find it at Facebook.com/RI Broadcasting. You can find us on Twitter at BroadcastingRI, and of course Twitch at twitch.tv/RI_broadcasting. You can also find the podcast on Anchor, Spotify, Google, Amazon, TuneIn, all of those places you can find us. If you want to look at all the movies that we've rated, then you can go to HavenShine.net. That is HavenShine.net. And you can look at all of our movies that we've rated. And let us know what ones you want us to take a look at and review and rate to see what we think of favorites or lack thereof. Certainly a lot to choose from. We have probably close to 200 of them on there by now. So, we're just rolling along. The thing I want to talk now, really quick, is who is your Batman? That's what I want to know. Who is your Batman? So if you can leave comments, and maybe maybe we'll see who wins that battle on who your Batman is. My personal favorite is Christian Bale. I thought he was a pretty good Bruce Wayne, excellent Batman. So you put them together, and he comes out on top. Michael Keaton, I would put second. Yeah. And it's only because I know they say, oh, well, don't let him being Mr. Mom, take away from him being Batman. It does a little. I'm sorry. It does a little. I still see Mr. Mom. And, it's just something I have that I can't get past. And Ben Affleck, I would put third. Close to him, though, is Robert Pattinson. So Robert Pattinson did that well. I just think Ben Affleck is a little better of a Bruce Wayne. Obviously, he looks the part of a Bruce Wayne billionaire. But of course, Rob Pattinson put a little darker spin on Bruce Wayne, and I do like that. The worst is Clooney. The worst. Like, I don't like anything he does. Like, I don't think he's good at anything, to be honest with you. I just think he's overrated as an actor. He just plays himself in every movie. I don't even like Ocean's 11, 12, or how many they did. So I don't like him in anything. Nothing. So that is the Batman. And you should go see it. It's an excellent movie. Yes, I know I rated an 85.4, but it is the screenwriting that is what brought the movie down. It certainly wasn't the acting, and it certainly wasn't the entertainment. So, um, if you can separate things you don't like about the writing part, you're gonna enjoy the movie. So go see the Batman. Um, you won't be sorry. It's a good movie. So enjoy it, and we will see you next time on Haven Shine Reviews. Take care.